Stockholm Syndrome begins with a sudden, traumatic capture. The hostage, often blindfolded and bound, experiences an immediate loss of autonomy. This scene depicts the psychological shock as the victim realizes their life is in another's hands. Studies show 8% of hostages develop this syndrome, where fear and helplessness lay the groundwork for later attachment. The captor's dominance is absolute, creating a power imbalance that disrupts the victim's sense of reality. Isolation accelerates the syndrome's development. Left alone for days in a featureless space, the hostage's mind becomes hyper-aware of the captor as their only human contact. Research indicates 72 hours of isolation can induce hallucinations. The ticking clock symbolizes distorted time perception, a key factor in trauma bonding. This extreme stress primes the brain to seek comfort from any source, even the captor. The captor's first act of kindness, perhaps offering water or medical care, becomes magnified in the hostage's mind. Psychologists call this traumatic transference. A 1974 FBI study found captives remember these small gestures 300% more vividly than threats. The hostage's hesitant eye contact shows the beginning of cognitive dissonance, struggling to reconcile danger with perceived compassion. When police surround the location, captor and hostage paradoxically bond. The captor may say, "They'll shoot us both," creating shared peril. Case studies show 68% of Stockholm Syndrome victims report feeling protected by their captor during raids. This survival mentality overrides logic. The hostage begins seeing authorities, not the captor, as the threat. The hostage unconsciously adopts the captor's habits, mirroring speech patterns or eating schedules. This mimicry, observed in 83% of cases, is an evolutionary survival tactic. Neurologically, the brain starts associating the captor with safety. The Patty Hearst case famously showed how hostages begin interpreting reality through their captor's perspective. When the captor shares personal stories, perhaps about family or past trauma, the hostage's empathy activates. Brain scans reveal this triggers oxytocin release, the bonding hormone. The 1996 Austrian kidnapping of Natasha Kampusch showed how captors strategically reveal vulnerabilities to manipulate this response. In 55% of cases, hostages actively resist rescue. This occurs because the amygdala, fear center, has rewired to associate freedom with danger. The 1973 Norrmalmstorg robbery hostages famously shielded their captors from police gunfire. This paradoxical behavior stems from the brain prioritizing familiar danger over unknown salvation. Post-release, many hostages defend their captors. Psychologists attribute this to the brain's need to reconcile affection with abuse. Elizabeth Smart's 2002 case showed how victims adopt their captor's worldview. This mental rewriting helps avoid the crushing realization of having bonded with an abuser. Therapy sessions reveal profound guilt. Victims often feel they betrayed themselves. MRI studies show lasting changes in the prefrontal cortex. The 1988 McCoy kidnapping case demonstrated how some hostages maintain contact with captors for years. This phase involves painful neural rewiring to separate Stockholm bonds from reality. Stockholm Syndrome isn't a disorder. It's an evolutionary adaptation. When escape seems impossible, bonding increases survival chances. Research shows similar neural patterns in abused dogs and child soldiers. The syndrome demonstrates the brain's incredible plasticity under stress, prioritizing survival over emotional logic.